sure that there is no chance for this brand to get away. No juking available.
Of no chance to get away. Fang over Fang predicts the flash over the wall, shuts down Wednesday Zig. Zig up in the top side. The Ornn ult is through, but they can't hit it again because they're taken under the tower by Rap Terror. Rap Kench is doing Rap Kench things, and with the slimmest of margins will find PJ Salt. Meanwhile, fight in the bottom lane. Fang over Fang is going to shut down the Vayne, and Triumph comes through. Johnny Tsunami in so much trouble. Oh my, for a massive shutdown on the back. British guy in so much trouble. Sheridan, the lonely cat. What are they to do from this monstrous Vayne under their tower? Live, of course, getting a killing spree over for Sheridan, who's now 3-0-1 on the Yuumi. Opening up the book, looking for more. Floor trying to find GodX Anime, who's still low. Finds GodX Anime. Rap Kench almost caught out, not quite, but is looking for the way in. Abyssal Age finds Ornn, and the last chapter, final chapter is opened up, but the ultimates are through. The Inferno Bomb and the Ornn Horn going to tear through all of FO. Only winning this one. I am colorblind and do not know which is the red health and which is the gray health, but I'm going to choose to believe in Rap Kench, as now I can finally see the health bar. The Zhonya's is going to go through for GodX, and they're going to give time for their coolouts to come up. The lightning is called, and Rap Kench will.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Friend or Foe series season 5. I forgot where I was for a second after watching that hype video. I was having some really bad flashback memories and some really good ones, but some really bad ones too. But let's hop into this. We got trickle-down economics versus rapidly losing sanity like my mind. And I've got Anti joining me on the desk.
Hello. You might have seen me from the last game. I know the graphic did say escape, but it was in fact me. I kind of snuck in a game early. That's one of the reasons why we've had so many scheduling conflicts. You already know how it is when I'm on cast. Either way, straight into this lobby, we already see the Diana and Zac ban away from War Leader. War Leader going to be taking quite a few targeted bans. The Lulu at the end from Tephra, which is a little bit on the interesting side. I don't really see Tef playing all that much Lulu this season, but going to be taking away as much of what's important as possible. And the Kale and Malzahar are going to be taken away from Azusa, and leaves his signature Nunu once again going to be denied. Now Zen, I don't know, when you're on the blue side, right, there's only a few options that you have to take for that blind first pick. There's the Jinx, there is something that you can flex that will be strong, there are solid supports that will work in both directions, and the Victor, another highly contested mid lane pick that is strong amongst both teams. So I really like the Victor pickup. Jinx, Thresh, phenomenal response coming out from RLS. Is very standard drafting from both teams right now, neither team fumbling the ball.
That is a very powerful bot lane on the side of Rapidly Losing Sanity. You've got nice hooks, nice engages. And I do want to point out that it's really interesting to see that the bans on the side of Trickle Down, none of them targeted top lane. So it looks like they're either expecting that to be a second round pickup, or they're just kind of confident into whatever Kyrie wants to pull out. I think that's going to be really interesting. And then they did decide to let just a really good lane go over the side of RLS. So I have to wonder what their response is going to be. Lucian is a good first pickup.
Interesting.
It is interesting, but I have to wonder if that's going to be a top lane Lucian or if it's going to be an actual ADC Lucian. Probably ADC.
I am 100% confident this is an AD carry Lucian. Knowing Zen in terms of stylistic choices, I do not expect to see that Lucian being put into the top lane, but it instead is going to Mr. Chunks, who has been playing a lot of the Lucian. Maybe not necessarily recently, but we've seen it before. This is actually Mr. Chunks instead of Ultravox this time around. So while we might not have seen as much of Mr. Chunks this season, we saw a decent bit last season when he would be subbing in for Rex. Very solid AD carry all around. So RLS might have been caught off guard, not realizing that they were not playing into Ultravox. But either way, War Leader and Leaves going to both be picking up some signature picks here. The Kayn and the Trundle. Kayn on Leaves' side, we've seen it before wreak havoc into the backlines of every team that has played into it. And War Leader finally getting the Trundle that he has had banned against him pretty much all season.
And so that's going to be really, really nice getting that Trundle. You got a lot of CC that's going to be available on the side of RLS already, and then a lot of damage, honestly, going to be coming out from those Trundle bites and the Jinx rockets. So I do kind of worry the fact that Trickle is still very much on the squishier side, although if we do see a Rost, then most likely that'll be a nice bit of tank. I do think that the scaling, though, is on the side of RLS as an overall at this point. So Trickle Down needs to shut Rapidly Losing Sanity out of this game as quickly as possible. We see that the Yuumi and the Nami have both been taken away. Really good options to just take off of the map because both of them will provide such great sustain and engage tools for the Lucian and the Kayn that just allows the rest of the team to follow up.
Yeah, and while, Lucian Nami is a ridiculously strong laner, TDE are going to take away the Tryndamere from Kieri, and, she has been playing some of that in the solo queue, so you definitely have to be watching out for that. That is a good amount of scouting coming out from TDE here, and I love the Trundle pick, honestly, because, one, you can flex it into the top lane, right? Kieri does play a mean Trundle and War Leader, always going to be comfortable on the Trundle regardless. The Pangu Soul Orianna, a classic from last season, going to be coming out once again into the Victor. And trickle-down economics have kind of shoehorned themselves into a solo tank composition here. Unless they have, like Nautilus, Leona, something that would be tanky to help supplement the tank that you're going to be losing once Trundle does hit that R button. But it is still going to be relatively difficult to play with, and that is the signature Gragas coming out from Zen. There's so many picks here that really are just, hey, what if we just give every player their most played or most iconic champions?
And I think that's definitely a good way to go about it. Like, you're kind of showing a lot of respect for the opposing team. You're like, look, I know what champions you want to play this round, but we're going to let you play like the ones that you love to play overall. So that they're not like trapped by the meta sort of a thing. I do think that it is there's also a little bit of a cockiness where it's like, look, let's just go out with a bang sort of mentality. A Pike hover is really interesting. That is really good for shutting down these lower health champions like Orianna and Jinx, and it will also allow that execute to come through on Thresh and Trundle, letting you get them out of the fight quicker than if they were some other champion. And then we see the Scion getting hovered on the side of RLS. It's going to be really interesting to see what gets picked up, though.
Yeah, I mean, a Malphite... Okay, there's no chance it's
going
to be Dinger.
Really?
No chance in my mind here.
They might just pick it just to make you lose your brain.
Okay, I see you, Kieri. But either way, going to end up going with the Urgot here. Another pick that we have seen Kieri play to incredible effect. Now, while I might have preferred the Scion here, Urgot's definitely no slouch. And with a team that is not going to have any real tanks, like the most you're going to get is the Kayn as a bruiser, because Trundle is going to hit R on the Gragas, and Gragas will not be a real tank. Once Urgot can focus one person down, right? Not only do you get the Urgot ulti to fear the entire team, you get the Jinx resets to absolutely demolish everything. So as long as RLS are on the same page, able to hit the same target, they have a disgustingly scary comp. But speaking of teams that have that reset potential, say it with me, friends. Pyke is a toddler champion. As long as you get someone low, you get everyone low.
That's so true. That execute on his ultimate is so strong, so useful, and it provides you just that nice little buffer. And then the fact that you share your gold is just so nice of him.
Yeah, we have so many kills going to be coming out onto this Pyke. That being said, a lot of damage already coming onto Mezusa with the corrupting pot ticking from Pangu Soul. All right.
Nice bit of damage back and forth.
Interestingly enough, Pangu Soul has the barrier, absolutely does not want to be taken down by the Pyke Burst. And Bob Joseph is 100% fully committing to the Pyke all-ins, right? We have the Ignite, we have the Hail of Blades on the Pyke, and I don't know. This is a very interesting pick for TDE. That's an exhaust ignite bot lane, and oh, okay. It's just gonna be getting into game. You're going to be a standard start from both junglers. Going to be, a blue side start, blue buff start from both sides, and every lane is already starting off with the cheese. Okay, hold on.
Yep, got a hard engage here on the bot lane. Escape getting brought really, really low. The Ignite did come out, so that means that he's going to have to... That's one Summoner spell burned on the side of TDE, so that could end up biting them here in a little bit, but it's the Ignite. Ignite comes back pretty quickly. We did have the Flash burn from Jinx, and that's going to take a little bit longer to come back, so should Kayn make their wave down, which we know Leaves loves to live in the lanes, that's going to provide some nice opportunity here in a little bit. I'm expecting to see a lot of engagement from the front. Oh, look at this jump on there. Escape getting brought very, very low. The pot is going to be the only thing keeping him alive, and a fight going on here in the mid lane. That is really, really nice for the side of TDE, getting a nice bit of momentum.
Yeah, already starting off with quite a bit of momentum, but, Escape going to be chugging on those 3 health pots, trying to get as much health back as possible, and Bob Joseph already walking mid. Dear Lord, speaking of someone who loves to make things happen...
Poor Orianna getting caught out, getting pulled in the wrong direction. They're going to get caught out. Flash is going to be made available. We got the ball trying to delay as much as possible. Corrupting Potion coming out as well. The heals. Leaves, though, has decided he's out for blood. Dives in. Pengusol not able to escape, and that's going to be Victor, the mechanical machine, getting the first blood.
Yeah, and first blood going over to Mizusa. That means so much for Victor. Those evolve points are incredibly important and incredibly strong. 25 more on the passive, which means that you're getting closer and closer to that evolution. And Leaves looking bot lane, looking to try to make something happen here as Escape sitting at half health, no heal, no flash. Yep. And
look at this. Oh, that's the engage. Escape getting caught out. He's going to get immediately bursted down by Mr. Chunks. RLS he is gone. Tefra trying to save his laner, isn't quite able to do it though, and unfortunately that is going to be yet another kill going over for trickle down economics.
Yeah, and rough start for RLS here. 2 kills already on the board, sub 5 minutes. And I don't know, RLS went for some of the more lane-focused abilities, lane-focused summoner spells. Like, we saw the barrier, we saw the phase rush, we see, the flash, the heal, all the good old things that we love and know from them. But it's not going to be working out as they're going to be falling behind early on. That being said, right, this is Lucian Pike into Jinx Thresh. And, a strong trade in the mid lane as Mizusa is just going to continue to assert this dominance from that early kill. But Pengusol, no slouch, still going to be able to farm up and be relevant as possible.
Yep, nice bit of damage coming out from him as well. That is going to be a good bit of momentum gain for them. We've got War Leader here trying to cause a delay. Zen jumping over the wall, avoiding that pillar. Almost a pretty good engage up the top. It's just Gragas easily able to get out of that. Kyrie does have a massive lead in terms of mana up in this top lane. They've got a nice bit of that wave is going to easily go over to them. So she's pretty comfortable up there.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely going to be pretty comfortable. That being said, Zen does have the Unsealed Spellbook and able to take the biscuits here. So, despite him not necessarily having all that much mana, this is actually quite a bit of mana in terms of what he has available to him.
This is true. Look at this wave. Absolutely massive. War Leader coming for the return gate, putting out the frozen zone, jumping onto Zen just starts wailing on him with that club. That's a nice pullback, and we do see now they are able to bring him just low enough. Kyrie getting a nice bit of damage off Tefra here in the meantime, getting a nice hook bot lane. That death sentence does not spell the end for Bob Joseph, though, and he's able to heal back up. That Pike is caught out by Vision. Not able to get the gray health back yet, but he's basically just kind of sitting nice and pretty in terms of poor old Escape over there.
Yeah, I mean, Escape going to be taking a lot of damage and a lot of poke and a lot of hooks, honestly, as there is such a huge wave under this tower. Tefra going to be blocking that hook there. Escape going to be trying to pick up as much of the CS as possible. Down 10 CS, but after that wave is pushed in, should be mitigated quite a bit. Picking up most, if not all, of that wave, actually.
Look how deep Mr. Chunks is going, though. Getting a nice deep vision ward, able to come up behind this Orianna. We're going to see a huge gank as a 4-man team just tries to gangbang this middle lane right there. Huge amount of damage coming out. Pengusol getting taken down.
Yeah, and Pangasol having a rough go at it. 0, 2, and 0 on the Orianna. Zen still has the ultimate, still has the flash
I'm
available.
having a bit of deja vu right now, as that gank almost went exactly the same as the last one.
Almost went exactly the same way. Kieri flashes forward, gets a very strange interaction with the way how E and the pillar work out. But on the other side of the map, Leave's going to be picking up this jungle for their troubles. As War Leader, looking for another gank, not going to force it though.
No, that is going to be first Mountain Drake over to the side of Trickle Down Economics, which that is a long-term investment first Drake, because its stats really don't kick in until about 20 minutes just because of the way scaling works. But once they do, that's going to make TDE very, very tough, very, very hard to take down. And of these two teams, they need that front line. They need that ability to sustain in these fights, because without that, they're just going to get burst down very quickly.
And I don't know, Kieri, while she's definitely feeling good about this lane right now, no matter how far you set the Gragas behind, it's always going to be relatively difficult to actually set him behind.
And speaking of setting behind, if you ever kind of like lose track, you never fall behind on the FOF Connect, which is just sitting back on our FOFesports.com page. Really easy to just kind of catch up on things that you missed in those magazines.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is incredibly well designed, and I do love both the graphics design, the way how it's written, and how everyone does get involved. And being involved, Tef going to be getting involved with this freeze, just tanking the wave. That's the kind of stuff that you love to see from every support. And Kieri getting some vision down, going to be looking
cheeky little ward placement.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, that was kind of funny. We've got 4 folks once again. This is just a 4-man death ball that we see roaming around this map now as TDE trying to find a gauge, jumping right in front of Joseph, almost managing to clip him, but doesn't manage to do it. Poor Kieri is going to be caught out here in the middle of this lane. They're getting burned down by the Ignite. The Mastery Signs coming out. Kieri has no escape, and that is going to be another kill going over to the side of Trickle Down Economics, and RLS starting to fall behind a little bit.
Yeah, starting to fall behind, but that's the kind of proactiveness that you need to see from the Pyke if you want to make this work. He's going to be picking up another buff from War Leader, but somehow that's still just going to even things out, because on the side of RLS, they've decided to take the entirety of the bot side jungle, but there really isn't that much up. There was Krugs, and there's Mr. Chunks in the mid lane looking for the plate, going to be able to nab that, and RLS are here for a 3v3, perhaps a 3v4.
Look at that. Nice bit of damage coming out from Lucian. Huge block off. However, we do see that RLS trying to find an engage aren't quite able to get into that choke point, which does mean that this is going to be the Rift Herald going over to the side of TDE. That is yet another thing that's going to get them a nice bit of gold. They have really kind of grabbed the reins of this game and are just starting to pull it in whatever direction they want.
Yeah, I mean, either way, Pangusol just trying to farm up over here in the mid lane, doesn't have too much mana available to him, as RLS on the back foot just playing for scaling, right? We know that TDE, if you're RLS, right, you know that TDE wants to get as many things done in the early game as possible, because if you do get to that late game, barring some godlike play from Azusa on the Victor, which, to be fair, is absolutely a possibility, there is very little that TDE does have available to them in the late game in terms of what's the kind of DPS that you can output. But if you're getting behind early, you had to make sure to find a way how to staunch the bleeding.
That early game from the side of TDE is very, very important for them. We do see that Drake's going to be up here in about 1:30, so we're going to see RLS probably playing around that, trying to pick up that win Drake, because that movement speed, absolutely fantastic for the Jinx when she gets excited. Very little they'll be able to do. Tef missing their hook, unfortunately. So they weren't able to catch out Pyke, but I don't think that Thresh can quite take him on just yet. We need to be seeing some more active play, though, out from War Leader. It seems like their ganks have been just a little bit off-timed, and unfortunately that means that they've only managed to pick up 1 kill so far.
Yeah, and only one kill, but when you pick up
like this, when I'm talking about ganks, this is exactly what I mean. Look at this hard engage in the mid lane. Pangoosol taken down yet again. Only one tower shot really finding a target, and that is going to be a huge amount of damage done to this mid lane. It's brought down to just one plate left, and War Leader can't even risk going for his wolves.
Yeah, and TDE look to be taking over right now. Kieri, the only bit of respite for RLS. That being said, she's going in, looking for a kill right now, able to nab Zenzen with the E, but with ult and body slam available, Zenzen is in no trouble right now.
No, but this fight might actually be going really, really poorly. Look at that RLS escape brought very, very low. The ignite is out. The fight is continuing. The Pike comes around the side. Doesn't manage to quite get the execute off the heal, and the burn is not going to be enough. The ignite from Tefro did manage to take them out. That is going to be huge. War Leader jumping in over the wall, does flash over. Mr. Chunks very able to just fight these off, though. That was such a big fight for RLS, and they weren't quite able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, they weren't quite able to capitalize on it, and that shutdown going over to the Trundle definitely going to hurt a little bit for the Jinx here, but when you have the Cloud Jag under your belt, going to be able to deny the faster rotations coming out from TDE at the very least. And just like that, you know, we get the Trundle at 1-0-1. We have the Urgot also farming up, making a lead in the top lane, but that is almost a 3k gold lead from the side of TDE.
Yeah, that 3k gold lead is going to be really hard to climb your way out of, but I think RLS does have the scaling to do it. We do see right here, trying to hide the fact that he's doing blue buff, isn't quite able to. War Leader's going to get caught out. Mezuzah goes on a killing spree as that laser just blows him up, and he steals the blue buff. Basically, TDE has decided there is no jungle for RLS. It all belongs to them.
Yeah, it definitely is looking strong for TDE right now. Tef trying to clear as much vision as possible, right? The biggest thing that I will say about TDE is that the moment that they are getting ahead, they have so much control of the map in terms of vision. Like, so little of the map is available for RLS. If we could get like an observer check to see just how much vision RLS does have available for themselves right now, it's definitely looking dark.
Yeah, it's looking very, very dark. There's very little on the side of TDE side of the map that we can even see, much less their own. Like, they just haven't been able to get these wards placed. Probably similar to how the FOF game looked from our perspective on Honesty. The culling coming out, nice bit of damage, but it's not going to be enough. Probably more of a just zoning situation. Chunks just wants to assert dominance in this lane and just be like, hey, look, I know you want to do stuff here, but you're not gonna. Interestingly enough, we do see that Leaves took the blue assassin cane, so they're going for a much more damage-heavy build, which means that we're going to be seeing Jinx, Orianna get popped almost instantaneously. And look at this. Deja Vu, once again, we got an engage in the top lane. War Leader here. Oh, we got a little bit of a wrinkle in the pudding right here. Zenzen coming up to join them. In the meantime, we got a fight going on in the bot lane. Nice box coming out. That is going to be the shutdown, though, going over to Thresh as Tefra manages to pick it up. The fight is continuing here in the top lane as we have seen that a third member of TDE came to join, taking out Kyrie. Mezuzah going on a rampage, and that is just going to be a basically one-for-one trade, but it still puts TDE so far ahead.
Yeah, definitely so far ahead for TDE. But on the other side of the map, the bot lane from RLS going to be picking up 2 kills, going to be picking up a tower, and Escape has been very quietly just farming up and getting as much gold as possible. They're just funneling this Jinx, and at 1-1 and 2, that might not necessarily look too crazy, but then you remember that Jinx started off this lane suffering against the onslaught that was the Lucian Pike in the early game at 120 CS at 15 minutes. That's about the average of what Escape has. If you look in the FOF Connect, you actually see the Escape averages a 126 CS at 15 minutes, so pretty par for the course.
Yep, that's exactly right where we are. Very, very well done on the side of Escape, managing to keep their cool, keep things going. Meantime, in this top lane, we do see that it's kind of evened out. It's pretty much on the, like, not too much going on here. The mid lane turret going down at the same time as the bot lane turret does mean that we see a bit of a pressure differential, though, and so that's going to be interesting to see how these teams decide to play it out.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of prefer differential, if you look into that mid lane matchup, you do have four.
Okay, hold on. Joseph with the cheeky jump in, trying to disrupt. War Leader does manage to do it. War Leader brought very, very low. He is bringing the Kayn under the tower, so that means Lee's going to tank at least one tower shot, but that's all he's going to get. And then Pangusel trying to help out his jungler isn't quite able to. That does mean that they're going to have to back off. Look at this. This fight's going to continue, then. This is going to be really, really bad for RLS. TDE coming in, getting so much damage. Mizuza's going to go unstoppable. The calling came out, damaging Tephra so much. They had to back away, and then the Pangusel taking another set of damage from the Mizuza laser, and that's going to be a nice turnaround from trickle-down economics as they managed to turn that almost lost fight into a win.
Yeah, and that almost looked like it could have been the tipping point for RLS here, but, you know, Kieri gonna be getting caught out once again.
Caught out! This is so unfortunate! The stun, the pull from the hook! We see Leaves trying to get a nice engage, isn't quite able to do it, but look at this, they're just gonna bash their way through the wall. Leaves taking down the Urgot, and that is gonna be another kill put onto this Kayn. He's gonna get himself a nice little bounty, but it doesn't really compare to Mizuza's.
Yeah, I mean, Mizusa is so huge on this victor right now, 5-0-3, that when you are playing for that early game prowess, this is definitely what you want to be seeing for TDE. Not only do you have your early game champs doing quite well, your one late game insurance plan is doing just fine.
Absolutely doing just fine. They are going to burn the teleport. At this point, though, it's perfectly all right. Does allow them to get up in front and able to help out with this Drake. That is going to be the third Drake going over to the side of TDE. So they are now a mountain and a ocean Drake up. Next one will be putting them on Soul Point. So at this point, they're probably going to be looking around this Baron, trying to get this last Rift Herald taken out and then get themselves some more pressure. And then just basically start slowly choking the life out of RLS as they just manage to pull this lead so far ahead. It won't matter what RLS's scaling is like.
I mean, while that is definitely something that could end up happening, you know, RLS, they're slowly going to be building up their mythic items, right? You know, Kieri finally managed to pick up that Titanic Hydra, which, you know, she tends to build the mythic really late. But War Leader, on the other hand, looking to nab that Divine Sunder very, very soon. Penguin Soldier, Pangusol able to finally finish those tier 2 boots after getting that magical footwear this late in. And I don't know, if RLS can slow down this game, they will just slowly begin to start coming out of their cage.
Very, very slowly indeed. However, we do see that yet another gank potential set up here in this mid lane. That Pyke has been all over the map, going wherever they want, killing whoever they want. Just his list has gotten really, really long, and he's just crossing names off it as he wants.
Absolutely. And just like that, you know, he's made his list, he's checked it twice, and
decided the top lane's where the next kill belongs. We see Kyrie getting engaged on by 3 members. This is once again a 3v1. The ultimate coming out from Kayn means that a lot of damage is going to come out. They get execute as well. Mizuza is going to go dominating, and that's going to be a nice chunk of gold shared between them and Pyke, as we do see Bob Joseph managing to pick up that assist.
Yeah, and the biggest thing about Pyke is that while your opponent's dying on repeat definitely does reduce the amount of gold that they give, Pyke means that with a full gold bounty going over again and again and again, those kills are still incredibly high value. And that gold lead has ballooned to a 5k gold diff at 20 minutes. Now, if you're RLS, you're definitely not having the greatest time of your life here, but you also recognize that because it is Pyke, he is going to reach that full build sooner rather than later. So this is something that's relatively par for the course when the enemy team's Pyke does get ahead. This isn't the end of the world here. But for TDE, right, you have to continue this high tempo play. And when you have this much vision into the enemy jungle, Bob Joseph trying to push that as far as possible. And Zen continually farming up the side lanes while everyone else on his team just tries to push the buttons as hard as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to push as hard as they can. We do see here RLS War Leader taking out that red buff. There's 3 men up in the top lane, so that's going to be a nice calling coming out. The hook from the Death Sentence does mean that he's pulled into block. Mr. Chunks brought it very, very low, but the Rocket's going to just miss, unfortunately. The Ignite did come out. That is going to be a kill, though, for RLS. This is where they're finally starting to come online. Lord Leader does get brought low by the Ignite, but manages to get a smite off to stay alive. Kyrie looking for that engage, gets caught on the wall, unfortunately isn't able to dash over, and that was a big turnaround for RLS, and this could be the sign that their scaling is coming online. Maybe they're able to hit it. Look at this, nice death sentence coming out. Bob Joseph getting caught out, but he's going to pull out a hook of his own. Tefra going to get taken out, and they are going to be taken out of the game. But the execute from Kyrie managed to find a target, and Mike got put in the grinder.
Yeah, you got one execute on one team, you got one execute on the other, but Kyrie has a much, much longer range execute, able to snipe that right over the wall and escape. Once again, going to be picking up another assist. Definitely not the most kill-heavy game for the Jinx, but feeling fine about how the team is slowing down the pace of the game. Those kills are crucial for RLS not to get back into the game, because they are always in this game as long as they can control the tempo. And the more and more that the enemy team gives up those kills, the more time you have to slow everything down.
And Mizusa's gotta feel like they've got a target on their back right now. That 700 gold bounty is looking pretty good for whoever takes them out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And with I believe that is a phage coming out from Kyrie that I don't think that's going to be a hull breaker, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Oop, Justin is not quite able to find a target. Bob Joseph does. He dashes in, finds the sun, does manage to take out War Leader. War Leader is going to get blown away by Mizusa going legendary, and that is not a pick you want to see if you're RLS. You don't want to see your members getting taken out. You've got to make sure that War Leader is available to take down these tanks and bring them out of the play. But look at this. We got a Rift Herald drop in the mid lane. Tef trying to find a target. Isn't quite able to. Basically in the middle of a war battle while poor Rift's old Scuddy is able to get a second dash, but not actually hit the turret. That is huge for RLS as they managed to stop this dive, but that is going to be the Ocean Drake now up for easy pickings by TDE.
Yeah, I mean, TDE are more than happy with this position, going to be able to pick up that Ocean Drake just fine. And if I understand correctly, Ocean Drag of the Souls is on the relatively weaker side. I don't know. There's actually like a lot of debate that goes on. I know that Nemesis likes to claim that Ocean Drag is the worst drag of the 4 souls, but
it's one of those things where, in my opinion, it's all about the usage. Ocean Drake is definitely much more of a utility soul with the healing and how it's. You can argue that it's not quite as great into certain comps, but I feel like for TDE, it's not a bad choice. Like, you would definitely probably want a Mountain Drake more just so you can have more tankiness. But the sustain is perfectly fine for them as they go into these scaling comps, because it's not burst damage that's going to kill them. It's the sustained longevity of the fight. So if they can manage to just kind of get out of the way just enough, then they're able to actually survive it and heal back up very, very quickly. We do have a pause coming out here, so hopefully it's not too big of a deal.
Yeah.
Looks like there was a bit of a disconnection issue on the side of RLS. One player was sitting with 800 ping, apparently. Very rough. Very hard to play the game.
Yeah, War Leader lately has been having some pretty rough ping issues, unfortunately, which is, both frustrating and sometimes unplayably bad, which, hopefully this ends up continuing to be played out here as, RLS are sitting at 35,000 gold, and at 41,000 gold from TDE, that gold lead is slowly growing, right? At 20 minutes, we said that is a 5,000 gold lead for TDE, and at 24 minutes, it is at 6,000. That, and, with some bounties still available for RLS, it's not necessarily the worst thing on the planet. But with the Muramana fully completed from Leaves here and the Cosmic Drive online for Mizusa, this is looking really, really dangerous.
It is starting to look really dangerous for RLS. I know I've been harping on them, but you've been kind of on RLS's side for obvious reasons. There is still a possibility of coming back into this game. They are 6k gold down. However, they can easily almost get rid of 1k of that just by taking out the Kane and the Victor in one team fight. That very quickly starts shooting them back onto this board and shrinking that gap. One of the things that you can also do to kind of help pass the time and shrink gaps in time space would be to help out the FOF connect, like we mentioned before.
Mhm.
Also hopping over to the FOF YouTube page to check out the lounge. It's a very good opportunity to kind of like get an hour out of your day as we just randomly talk about the games that have happened the previous week.
Yeah, and if you find yourself having some gaps in your wardrobe, check out the FOF.com/merch in order to find some of the phenomenal merch that we have in store for you. We have
There's
quite a few options.
quite a few options. I mean, we've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts, got enamel pins if you like to collect those, so you can definitely pick those up. I think those are going to be a little bit more of a hot ticket item than we kind of expect them to be. Remember that the pre-order sales are going until the 16th, so if you wanted to pick something up, that's the place to do it. And then we have certainly got to worry about this timer. Once again, ticking down. Hopefully those connection issues don't take too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to have a game stop being played out due to connection issues, regardless of who exactly is in the lead, who's winning, who's comfortable with how everything's going. That being said, right, for RLS and for TDE, this is a very interesting point of the game, right? Well, TDE is a very strong team. Don't get me wrong. They are also not very well known for having the cleanest of games, right? TDE for many a time have had very, very strong early, and then, something happens in the late, and then it turns into a 40-minute banger, or a very, very weak early, and then something happens in the late game, and it turns into a 40-minute banger. Like, TDE are one of the teams that, if there's anything consistent about them, it's giving us 40-minute bangers. Now, whether or not that 40 minutes will be including the pause is a different story entirely.
Now, one thing to point out here is that Victor has a exceptionally high win rate in FOF. I think there's only three other champions that have a higher win rate. He's got a 57%. So having a Victor on your team definitely does speak well to your side. And unfortunately, the highest win rate by comparison on the side of RLS is Thresh, who has a 54% win rate. Really close, but it does kind of make it lean a little bit more in terms of Victor, in terms of just based on win stats in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, okay. What I'm about to say might sound really controversial. I don't think Victor is that good of a mid laner.
How dare you?
I know. That the thing is, right? Victor, I think, is genuinely relatively strong, and he is used to great effectiveness. I think the biggest thing about Victor is that, like Ahri, he is a champion that is easy to be consistent on, right? So when you take people who have strong fundamentals and you put them on a champion that is more easy to be consistent on, that's where you get the strength that comes out, right? When you play a champion like Zed, like Katarina, a champion that can coin flip games, it's harder to see that consistent winning on players that, might not necessarily be leagues ahead of the enemy laners. Like, if you're leagues ahead of the enemy laners, then you can go ahead and pick, that Irelia mid, that Yumi top, something crazy that you can consistently get ahead with regardless of the matchup. But champions like Victor, like Ahri, like Orianna are champs that are very consistent. So if you do have those fundamentals, you will slowly build up into the point where you are going to be relevant, where you are going to be able to pump out damage.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is true. And despite the fact that Jinx does get so strong late game, that she's in this particular game, Escape's got a real problem. Escape is on Kayn, and he went blue assassin Kayn. That's going to be a very quick deletion in regards to once these team fights get going. If they don't manage to catch him out, Tef has got to make sure their flays are on point. But even then, that ulti doesn't get stopped by a flay or a death sentence.
Yeah, it doesn't get stopped by a flare or death sentence, and the glacial augment can only really account for so much when blue Kayn's shadow step actually allows him to walk not only through walls but through slows completely undeterred.
And it looks like we're hopping back into this game. War Leader once again connected. Unfortunately, that those connection issues have been a thing. However, he is top 5 of performance for this past week. That is according to the Jeff stats. So
top 5, which means not 6th place, which is definitely a good spot for War Leader to be standing at. Not unhappy with where that is, but slowly going to be building up the inventory here as Bob Joseph just looking for another kill. TDE, even after the pause, still knows their win conditions, still knows that they have to accelerate this game pace and keep things as fast as possible. Tef in a bad position, you're going to be flashing out.
This is the problem with supports I've noticed, is they tend to be a little bit ward hungry. You get in fights over these vision wards, and sometimes it's just not a fight you want to be taking. See, look, he's got the flay coming out onto Bob Joseph, but look who's there hanging out. Leaves right on the side, so Tef kind of getting baited into this. The culling is going to come out as well, but they're not quite able to find a target, and all of that damage Bob Joseph just took got healed up instantly, so it's like it didn't even happen.
Yeah, I mean, it might look like it didn't happen, but if you look into the top lane right now, Pengusoul has to walk away and flash down, trying to survive as, Kieri and Zenzen are fighting so much in this bot lane. Both of them are so tanky, I doubt that we're going to be seeing any kills here, but...
Oh, no, I'm sure we'll see a kill eventually. It's just a matter of how long it takes those wet poonals to actually do any damage.
Yeah, I mean, you got so many casts coming in, Kieri getting a little bit tipsy right now, losing quite a bit of health, as Zenzen just going to be content to heal everything back up continually.
But it's a very nice wave clear coming out from Kieri. They are able with this Titanic Hydra, so they are able to do a lot of damage, trying to get as much pressure on this tower as possible. Jinx jumping right on top of Bob Joseph, getting a huge amount of damage, but look at that! Right there is what I was talking about. Leaves, comes over the wall, and is just like, Obai wa moshinderu, and just instantaneously, Jinx is gone.
Yeah, I mean, Leaves might be the jungler here, but it seems like CUD and Anime are on his side regardless.
Continuing. They're just trying to go in on this. RLS just looking for whatever angle they can find and just not able to get it quite. They're just not able to find that connection, as unfortunately TDE has just pulled so far ahead that it's just like a chicken with his head cut off at this point.
Yeah, it may be. And War Leader trying to look to see if it's possible to go for a steal right now. Bob Joseph on the wings, just trying to make sure that there is no chance for the steal. No flash on the Trundle, no blast cone. Kieri going in, taking so much damage.
Look at that, a huge pull coming out from Pyke as they managed to get a lot of damage off. The Execute's going to come out, and so is Kane. Kane just going to reap the life out of War Leader. He's going to get taken out. Kieri getting thrown back into the enemy team. They're going to get taken out as well, as like Leaves finally getting peppered. Enough damage by those rockets, gets ripped to shreds, but the Execute from Pyke manages to pick up yet another kill. We got a double kill coming out from Lucian. RLS's Escape and Pengusoul are the only ones left, as they only managed to take down one member of TDE.
Yeah, I mean, you give up 3 for 1. That's definitely not the greatest of trades, but Leaves isn't on the table. So if RLS so desire, they can try to contest for this, but they are in fact just going to try to get as much vision as possible on the bottom side of the map, trying to deny the dragon if it is going to be available.
Yeah, they just decide basically because War Leader is gone, Leaves is coming up here in another 4 seconds. The Baron is taken out of the equation, and that is going to be a nice bit of power in the back of TDE's pocket, as they have now taken this lead and increased it to 10K.
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 gold is such a huge gap. I mean, one of the big concerns I did have coming out of the pause was, does TDE still have that win condition in mind? Can they still continue to accelerate the pace of the game after such a huge momentum break, right? But they definitely don't seem to be slacking.
Absolutely not. No, we see right here Bob Joseph very confident in their position as they just kind of emote spam right there, just jumping up and down, dancing for RLS. And look at this. They're basically kind of in a way almost, I don't want to say giving up the Drake, but they're like, yeah, go ahead. Go for the Drake. That's fine. We're going to take your mid turret and inhibitor though. So we'll see in a little bit.
Yeah, going to be taking the mid turret and the inhibitor with Baron online. Might even look to take the entire base, as TDE is going to try to deny as much backing from RLS as possible. Huge shockwave.
That is going to be absolutely massive. We've got a nice dive in there. Massive shockwave coming out, and that is going to be absolutely devastating as poor old Kieri gets taken out. The shutdown going over to them, though. That's going to be a double kill for Leaves. This is just absolutely fantastic and is going so poorly for RLS, and that is going to basically be game at this point, as there is not enough time on these death timers, and that is going to be a nice, easy win for trickle-down economics.
Yeah, nice solid win for TDE. It seems that the pause was in fact factored into the 40-minute banger. And they are going to be taking down the Nexus. They're going to, just throw the cast right over the Nexus to say, hey, this is our celebration run. And with that, they are in quite the position for first place, if I do understand.
That is going to easily cement them first place, I believe. And that is kind of like taking that away from UB, which I'm not entirely sure if that was deliberate on UB's part. I feel like they may have gotten a little bit cocky in some of their games and let themselves...
Oh, so it's going to be it's really going to depend on how the next game ends up going out. Either way, this game was a phenomenal one from TDE. They played that really, really strong, controlling the pace of the match from beginning to end. It all started with that level 1, not an invade, but just a lane state.
Yeah, just the lane state. And with that, we will be taking a quick break and we'll be right back with an interview. So don't go away.
That is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging. That is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging. Constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging. That is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. I am your friendly neighborhood Shotcaster Shargan. I have got joining me on the interview desk, TDE's Mezuzah. How you doing, Mezuzah? That was a pretty nice win you pulled up against RLS.
Thank you, and I'm doing quite well. It was good to finish the season off strong.
Yeah, definitely. Finishing off the season, finishing your first split. So I got to ask you, how do you feel the competition kind of stacked up going into these playoff games?
I would say I was a little surprised, maybe not into the playoff games, but I was surprised earlier on in the season. I thought we would have had a little bit more of a dominating performance, but, credit where credit is due. UB and RLS both, Baby, and honestly, even RLS have, stepped up. A lot of people have played really, really well. Shout out to AWE for putting me really far behind in our game. So, none of the matches were super easy. None of them were, but I will say there's everyone makes mistakes, and we were able to exploit a lot of those.
Yeah, it's kind of always the thing to keep an eye out for is what mistakes people are making, which I think some people might have thought when they were looking at your build. As Victor. So it's you want to kind of give us some insight on that?
Sure. So this game's a little funky. I think so. Our draft is a little bit troll, and in any normal game, I feel like I should just I have no options to play this game if everyone is even and their enemy team's front line is pretty strong. So my idea was hey, let's get some Cosmic Drive and some Phase Rush and just run away real fast when Trundle starts running at me. Get rid of that slow from the pillar. But that's why I built just to hit the front line, and frankly I never get access to Orianna or Jinx ever in a fight. So yeah, focus who I get to focus.
Exactly. So having to deal with those tanks, definitely a good way to do it. So now that you've kind of finished the split and it's all finished up and you got your placements going down, what do you have to say to your opponents going into these knockout brackets as they start kicking things off and things start getting intense?
So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think one thing you can say is our team has improved quite a lot. It's the first time we've all played together. I've played with Zenzen quite a bit and Leaves as well, but it's sort of a different dynamic, especially with Zenzen in top lane. I've sort of role denied him. Sorry, bud. We're growing as a team. Players are individually improving a lot. Shoutouts to Ultravox for having massive growth throughout the season. And my play with Leaves has improved. I think Zenzen has gotten a lot more stable, and I've been able to I think Bob Josephs and my synergy in terms of shot calling have improved quite a bit too. So, and you saw that during the baby game. So yeah.
That we did.
So you guys better be quaking in your boots because we're coming for that win.
Oh man, I'm really excited. Looking forward to seeing what you guys put up. Do you have any particular call-outs you want to do against any particular team?
Sure. Hey UB, we're gonna fucking trickle down all over you.
Oh, damn! I'm calling it out like you see it. I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. That is going to be an exciting one for sure. Mezuzah, thank you so much for doing this interview, and we will be right back, folks. Stick around. We've got one more game of the day coming up, and that is going to be PWH versus Universal Basic Income.